appreciate you taking the time to join us this afternoon, and we have some great information to share with you. Our presenters for today's webinar are myself, Ralph Goldbeck. I am one of the partners of Kitchens to Go and Carlin Manufacturing. I am an architect by trade and have been involved in the food service industry for about 26 plus years. Joining me this afternoon is Carrie Franz. Carrie, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you, Ralph. Yes, my name is Carrie Franz, and I have been in the food industry for about 20 years in various aspects, doing anything as far as retail, catering, and now leading the team here at Kitchens to Go for the last 5 years.
A little history about Carlin Manufacturing. Carlin Manufacturing has been around since 1981. Started in Fresno, California, and essentially helped to create the current mobile kitchen marketplace. It's got over 700 relocatable kitchens currently in use worldwide, and the shot you see on the screen is actually a picture of Kevin Carlin, who was the founder of Carlin back in 1981, and we've taken the business and continued to develop it. Carlin is an affiliated company with Kitchens to Go and builds all of the equipment that Kitchens to Go uses in their leasing fleet. Carlin was the proud recipient of the 2012 NRA Kitchen Innovation Award and came up with a new product called Bolt-On Kitchens, which we'll share some more details of that program with you later.
And our agenda today, we're going to go through a little bit of the history of mobile food service, which might surprise you a little, various types of units available, and you'll hear these four words quite a bit throughout the presentation: mobile, modular, containerized, and bolt-on. We'll go through design requirements, production timelines. We will talk about the cost and the investment, and we will save time at the end to answer any questions you have at any point.
Thanks, Carrie. Well, first of all, let's take a couple of minutes to look at the history of mobile food service. As you can imagine, people have had to eat on the move over the years. Probably some of the earliest applications of mobile food service go all the way back to the Roman armies back in 753 BC, when the armies were marching across Europe, expanding their empire and taking food and wine along with them. In 1866, Charles Goodnight actually invented what's known as the chuck wagon. As you can see, the guys on the range there are having probably some baked beans. And it's interesting, when you look at the early chuck wagons, they are very similar to the mobile kitchens that you see on the road today. They, of course, had to have wheels, had to move around, they had to have water on board to help prepare food, had to have some means of preparing and preserving the food. Of course, back then they typically used salt rather than refrigeration. But what's most interesting is they had to find their fuel almost on a daily basis. And you can imagine being out on the open prairie, not a whole lot of trees available. So the main job of what they call the cookie was to go out from the time that he would set up camp and start gathering twigs, sticks, anything he could find to have the necessary BTUs to be able to cook that evening's meal. So the chuck wagon was a popular mobile kitchen. As time moved on, Bahe Karapetian down in Los Angeles developed what is fondly known as the route truck, or I guess you could say roach coach. But in 1965, Bahe started his business, and probably the largest provider of mobile kitchens and route trucks, food trucks in the industry. In 1981, Kevin Carlin came up with the concept of taking the route truck concept and actually developing it into a expanded version. He took a trailer, took some restaurant equipment, and actually built his own mobile kitchen. It became very popular with other caterers, and Kevin moved out of his catering business into a mobile kitchen business called Carlin Mobile Kitchens, and started his business in '81, and we've continued to grow over the years, building large, high-volume mobile kitchen units. Then, in 2008, the Koji Korean barbecue truck was born in Los Angeles, and really the current food truck craze as we know it today was created. As you know, there are all kinds of food trucks. There's food trucks on the Food Network now, and every city has seen the expanded use of food trucks, and I think it's really part of our current society fabric that we're going to see more and more trucks through the years.
Thank you, Ralph. So what types of solutions are available? The first photo you see on top is the mobile, and again, I think that's what a lot of us are familiar with. That looks a lot like these food trucks that Ralph talked about that have become part of our culture. These units, this particular one is for the University of South Carolina, so they can move this unit around campus to feed students. If they need it at the stadium, they drive it over there. If they need it at a soccer field, they can drive it over there. So they're generally used for shorter-term projects. They're ideal for quick response and, again, are very, very versatile. The other, a second option is modular. These units you'll see in the photo below, was a camp dining hall, and the kitchen burned down, and they still needed to hold camp that summer. So we were able to bring modular kitchens in, which you'll see the three on the end, and they were, right up, very close to the dining hall. They were kind of married together, and the walls can come down between them, so they're a very open, free-span space. So these tend to be used for permanent or longer-term projects. If you're feeding really large numbers, population, they are perfect for that. They allow you to increase your capacity, or if you need to just up your volume, they allow that in the kitchen that you have. And again, we also find a lot of use for them when we're doing disaster recovery. Not necessarily the relief of feeding the workers, immediately during or right after a storm or something, but in the recovery phase when the rebuilding is being done, these are often used.
Two other types of relocatable kitchen units are containerized, which are built into a 40 or 20-foot ISO-type shipping container. And we actually take the containers and insulate them, put utilities on board, and then outfit them with an exhaust hood and the necessary production equipment. Very similar to the mobile units, they are ideal for a short-term application, anywhere from 1 to 6 months. We use a lot of these for disaster relief and response, and also for our international business. And then the bolt-on product, which I spoke to earlier, it is actually a modular unit that is configured. It is pre-assembled, pre-built in a code-compliant facility, shipped out to site, and actually bolted on to an existing building. So it gives you the option of providing food service production capacity either to a building that currently doesn't have any, or if there's an existing kitchen within the facility that you need to expand or renovate, rather than taking the time to do that remodel project inside the building, you can actually bolt on a prefabricated bolt-on unit and recapture that space inside for expanded dining space, admin space, or storage.
So these next few slides are going to show you some various different kinds of mobile kitchens. And when we say mobile, they always have wheels and can move around. The top two slides that you see are actually trailers that are fifth wheels. That allows it to have a lower deck, so they're a little closer to ground level. The unit, the blue unit with the big yellow stripe, is for the University of California, Santa Barbara. And this unit, they actually use a lot in one particular location on campus, and so they actually can pull it into, they've kind of built a pit, we would call it. So they can pull it into this pit, and then it is right at the right level for students and guests to come right up to those serving windows, and it's concessions. So they, the window level is just perfect for people walking up and being served. The unit on the right is the Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps, and this is a group of band members that tour every summer. They go all over the country, and this unit actually moves at least every 2 days. Sometimes every day, sometimes every 2 or 3. So this unit is on the road quite all the time. And again, they pull up, they arrive where they're going to be staying for the next day or so, and the folks that feed this 120 member band gets in there, cooks them 4 meals a day. These people are marching all over, so they actually have 4 meals a day that is they are served out of this facility. The two on the bottom are representative of drivables. These are step bands that have been outfitted to have the kitchens in the back. And we did talk about University of South Carolina earlier. That's on campus. And the other unit is for Bunge Oil. And this is actually a unit that this company sells cooking oil, and we actually worked with them to have this unit run on used cooking oil. So it's very unique in that they are out there marketing their product as well as driving their unit around using it. So it's a lot of fun. The next slide shows us some other kitchens.
Yeah, what you're looking at here is it's actually a military kitchen that is used for field feeding for the military. And I think we might have lost our connection with the internet, so let me dial back in here. Hold on a second, if you would, please. So, Carrie, why don't you elaborate a little more on the past slides we saw, and I'll dial us back in.
All right, I would be happy to do that. I guess I'd like to talk a little further about some of the concession units. We see a lot of those. Oh, I think Ralph has us back online.
We are back on track.
We are back on track. Well, what you're looking at in the top corner is a field kitchen, because again, these units are used primarily for the military and for some government projects. They can also be used for natural resource mine camps. But as you can see, they are very rugged. They are designed to be pulled behind a Humvee. And as you can see, they handle the terrain. Everything is fastened down. It's shown open right now, but those the sides come down and are secured. The small wares are stored inside. Water is stored. You can see there's containers for water there. And these are, again, able to be in some of the most rugged climates, yet keep the troops fed as necessary. The large white unit was built for the American Red Cross, and again, this is a 53-foot unit, so one of the larger units. And again, you will see a picture in a little bit inside, and it is fully set up to accommodate some high production cooking for those disaster relief projects talked about. The bottom two pictures show some of our corporate clients, and again, mobile kitchens are used quite often for sampling, for selling. They may want to attend events like the Super Bowl or different events like that, and they will set up and either serve as concessions right out of their trailers, or they may be sampling to do marketing. So these are a couple of the corporate type events. And then
these slides really show the difference between the type of trailers. You can see from a semi, what we call a dry freight type of trailer, down to a drop axle, to a bumper pole, and then even a military type kitchen is designed to meet up with a Humvee. So there are a number of different trailer types out there to meet the applications required.
Thank you, Ralph. And the next slide just kind of shows some of the fun you can have with a mobile unit. Ralph can tell us a little more about the Wienermobile. We did this one. It is in the corner there. But again, you can also see a lot of the creativity with the Spam, making it look like a can of Spam, Popcornopolis. A lot of fun and a lot of creativity can go into these mobile units to really come across with whatever marketing message you are looking to do.
Yeah, Carrie's right. As you can see, these units are actually giant billboards, so that's why graphics are so important. And yes, Carlin did build the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. We built 6 vehicles for them back in 1995 and are still on the road spreading miles of smiles for Oscar Mayer.
This is the inside. We've seen a lot of outside pictures, and now this is the interior of a mobile picture or kitchen. The top picture is that unit that was UCSB, the large blue one with the yellow stripe. And if you look carefully at the picture on the right side, you see soda dispensers, a number of them, and those are right next to the serving windows that we saw on the exterior. So again, you can see people are working on the inside, customers coming up to a window, they can get a soda, they can hand out whatever is needed. And then all the cooking equipment is on the other side of the unit. Again, the photo on the bottom is a unit that is set up closer to that Red Cross unit, that it would just be all production. They're not serving directly out of serving windows on that unit necessarily. They may be bringing food out. So you can see that it's not doesn't have windows in it, but again, it's just every single inch is used effectively because every inch of space counts. So you can see that a lot of equipment is able to put in here and be planned very precisely to make the most out of the space.
As Terry shared, the design is typically a galley-type design due to the shape of the vehicle. These trailers are narrow and long. In the design world, there's a saying that form follows function. Well, in our world, function really follows form because the form is already predetermined. So we have to take the function that's required, whether it's for a quick-serve company like McDonald's or Burger King or just a large catering group, and take that function and make it fit into an existing trailer or modular building. So we have a galley-type design, and the equipment layout, of course, has to be positioned so that you can have maximum production and efficiency. Weight distribution is a major consideration. These vehicles have to travel down the highway. They have to be safe and have to make sure that the weight is distributed properly from the roadside to the curbside, but also from the front of the vehicle to the rear. And there are certain overall gross vehicle weight requirements that must be maintained. And when you add a lot of stainless steel equipment on board, water, propane, food product, it doesn't take long before that vehicle is nearing its gross vehicle weight capacity. So for safety reasons, it's very critical that the layout be done so the distribution is considered and the overall gross vehicle weight of the vehicle is maintained. Then, of course, for any kitchen, you need utilities, you need power, low voltage, high voltage. Most mobile kitchen units have a generator on board. Along with power, you, of course, need water, just like a chuck wagon, to help support the prep and production of food product, and, of course, to clean up at the end of the day and have proper hand washing. And then some type of fuel source. Most mobile units are powered by a propane system. There are some out there with compressed natural gas, and then the use of diesel is used to power the generator on board, or possibly even gasoline from the vehicle itself. So you have a number of options, but you need power, water, and fuel. And on board, you need a good exhaust system. I'm sure you've seen some food trucks out and about that have the large ventilator in the rear of the unit. A lot of the units that we do actually have tempered makeup air so that they can be used in cold climates and provide adequate either heated or cooled makeup air for the exhaust system. And then for the ambient interior, for your occupants, you want to make sure that you have some type of heating, venting, and air conditioning to make sure that it's a nice, comfortable environment for folks to prep and produce food. So number of design considerations to consider when you're designing a mobile unit. This is a floor plan of a typical food truck, and as I mentioned, it's a galley-type design, so you can see this center aisle. The code states that you must have a minimum aisle width of 30 inches down the middle aisle. And as you can see here, most of the production equipment is on what we call the roadside, which is the side facing the center line of the road. And in this case, you can see a griddle, a 2-burner, and a flat top next to a fryer. This is all covered by a stainless steel exhaust hood, which has makeup air provided. There's a prep station and then an area for the generator to be built into the food truck. And in this case, we actually have a exhaust stack from the generator to help force some of the noise and exhaust fumes from the generator up and out the top of the food truck itself. Over on what we call the curbside, we have the serving area, and it is made up of serving windows, and it's also a great place to put the 3-compartment sink and hand sink and some of your other support utilities. So again, a galley-type design, a lot of equipment on board, and make sure that you have what you need not only to produce your product, but to clean up afterwards. In addition to the design requirements, you also have code requirements to consider. The equipment on board needs to be NSF and UL approved. That's the requirement of the health department. The flooring is typically either a aluminum diamond plate or a heavy-duty sheet vinyl type material that's coved up the wall 6 inches and seamless, so that you have a nice clean monolithic floor surface to clean up after the day's activities. The code states that the wall finishes must be smooth and washable, so we use a combination of FRP, aluminum, and or stainless steel behind the cook line. Then your work counters also need to be smooth and cleanable, and typically due to the volume of production, we use a stainless steel type work counter that stands up well under all of the volume that you'll experience in a small space. Doors and windows, certain requirements for serving windows in California, which is probably one of the most stringent codes in the nation. They have a requirement that your windows cannot have an opening any larger than 216 square inches and must be self-closing. So we have set that as a standard. In some cases, air curtains are required over entry doors and even serving windows. And then, of course, your exhaust and makeup air system have to be certified along with a certified fire suppression system like an ANSEL system. And that's become standard design requirement for mobile units. Your plumbing system can vary between what we call PEX and or CPVC. And, of course, you have to have adequate hot water on board to meet the requirements for the health department.
So the next topic we're going to talk about are modular kitchens. And the modular kitchens give us a little more design space in order to put our kitchens together. Modulars typically are 12 feet wide as opposed to the 8 feet wide that the mobile units are. And when we take a 12-foot wide module and then we put it with other modules and marry them together, we really can have some nice open spaces. Here are some examples of the top photo is modulars. You can see put together. The end that you're looking at are kitchens. I believe there's 3 units of kitchens, and then there are about 7 or 8 modular units that are a dining room. And so once you take those walls down between those dining, we have a very nice large dining hall for the folks in this particular circumstance to use. And again, this was an instance where we took this project in thinking that it was going to be there for a few months while they did some renovations, and it turned out once it was installed, they realized that they really didn't have any reason to redo their employee dining, that this really served their purpose better. And so they took the space inside that they were going to dedicate to employee dining and were able to use it as some other workspace. And this now is permanent. Again, it looks a little nicer from the other side where they've landscaped it and it has windows. But again, it's become their permanent employee dining facility. We also have showing you on the right side Walter Reed Military Hospital in Washington, D.C. And again, that's a dining structure that is attached to then our kitchen module. So the servery, the food comes right out. Folks come in these doors that you're looking at and can go through the serving line and are fed. This is a smaller but a really nice walk-up unit with the blue awning. This was done at the Defense Language Institute. And again, they needed to put something on site where people could walk up. Again, it's there in sunny California, so they had the ability to not need to have folks go inside. But again, it's a nice I believe 24-foot length unit that does all the cooking on the back side and then serves their folks up in front. This is the inside, and these 2 photos on the left, you'll see what we're talking about with opening up that space. You can see that as opposed to the mobile unit that was a little more tunnel-like, these are open. You can see where walls have come down, and you're looking across modules, so to speak. So you can see how this is much open, much better for communication, for flow, and just verbal contact and visual contact with employees. On the left, we always like this photo because Ralph talked about our wall surfaces, and not only are they washable, but they are basically dry erase boards. So as you can see in this circumstance, they can leave notes to each other, they can put a recipe up there, they can remind themselves they're out of something to order. And so it's a feature that is always very popular in the unit. And again, that can just be cleaned off once they do their cleaning each day and start fresh the next.
Thanks, Gary. And just like the mobile units, the modular units have their own design considerations and, in some cases, some limitations. They have a great deal more flexibility than the mobile units because we can actually take 12-foot wide units and connect them together to create an open span, open environment, which provides a great interior space that's open for visual and verbal communication. The weight distribution is not quite as critical as it is with the mobile units because they can carry more weight and they're not as mobile. They will only move from site point A to point B, so we can carry a little more weight on board. The utility demands are shore connections as opposed to being self-contained and having to have generators on board. Typically, the modular units connect to the site power supply, the site water supply, and the site fuel supply, and in most cases it's propane or natural gas. Just like the mobile units, there are certified exhaust makeup air systems with fire suppression systems, and of course heating, cooling, and ventilation are a requirement for your occupants just like you would have on the mobile units. Taking a look at a complex that's made up of modular units, as you can see, this is the Banner project, and we've taken a number of 12-foot by 56-foot units and actually put them together in sort of a linear type complex. And one key design feature you see is that there are common circulating corridors that are designed to act as sort of a connection between modules so that you have good flow from the interior. And you can see a couple of production cook lines here. This unit actually had a tray line set up in it, had a flight dish machine and this dishwash module, and it was all supported with lockers and toilet rooms to support the staff. You can see a number of walk-in coolers and freezers which are plugged into the end of the module so you can actually access your cold storage directly from the modular kitchen without having to go outside and bring product into the production kitchen. So this type of configuration really is scalable, and you can put together 2 all the way up to 12, 18 modular units to create a complex. So it gives you a great deal of flexibility to meet the demands of your production program. And like the mobile units, of course, code requirements are very similar. NSF and UL approved equipment. The interior finishes are very similar. The sheet vinyl flooring is typically used in a modular unit, but the wall finishes are the same as mobile with FRP on the wall, and as Carrie shared, the whiteboard type application is very helpful. Stainless steel behind the cook line. Doors, windows, very similar to a mobile application, and exhaust and makeup air systems are very similar also. And as I mentioned earlier, the utilities are actually connected to the site supply, so you have greater capacity. You have essentially unlimited water and waste. So you can have things like flight dish machines on board and a greater capacity of hot water.
And the third type of kitchens we're talking about today are containerized. And again, they are built in either 20-foot, but most commonly 40-foot by 8-foot high cube containers. And you can see in the photo on the left that this is a actually containerized drive-through complex. It is one container, and as you can see, the same that you can do with graphics on some of those mobile units, we can do with facades on containerized and modular units, because you really would not know that that is where this unit started. So again, creativity is always important. One of the advantages, and you see in the other photo, is a unit. This unit was done at a hospital that suffered after Hurricane Sandy or 2 years ago, I guess it is now, and they had no space in Manhattan to put, they had no empty parking lot, so this unit is being lifted and put on top of a parking garage where we actually put 2 units and put them together to serve as a kitchen while they were recovering from the storm. And you'll see in the next slide, you'll see some other options for containerized kitchens. And one of the items that they kind of bring the best of both worlds to is that they are very easily transportable on a flatbed. They're 8 feet wide, so they don't require any extra or special permitting to move them. We have even developed, as you see in the bottom photo, pack legs on some of our containers. That these are hydraulic legs that you can see that flatbed backed into where this kitchen was going to go. The legs are deployed, the flatbed is pulling out, and then those legs can each individually be lowered to level that unit on site. So there are a lot of advantages to containers. Sometimes when space is at a minimum, containers are your best option.
And as I shared earlier, the containers are used for a lot of our international business. As you can imagine, it's a standard format that's used to ship product over from international locations to the U.S. And if we can utilize some of those existing containers as a resource, it's a great opportunity to take advantage of that resource. Bolt-on kitchens, as I mentioned, Carlin was the 2012 NRA award winner for the Kitchen Innovation Award using its bolt-on kitchen program. And a bolt-on kitchen is exactly what it says it is. It's a kitchen that gets bolted on to an existing structure. They are prefabricated and can be delivered quickly. It allows you to expand and provide some expansion space for your facility. They can be designed and built to match the architecture of an existing building. They are prefabricated, so it's green type construction, very energy efficient, and we have found them to be comparable in cost to stick-built construction. And since the development of the site and the development of the unit itself are done concurrently, it's actually much quicker than stick-built construction. Here's a shot of a bolt-on kitchen. As you can see, it's an example, an existing food service facility that has to expand. It's as simple as cutting a hole in the sidewall, having the prefabricated unit delivered, and then put into place. And you can see in this rendering the design of the bolt-on kitchen matches that of the existing kitchen facility.
And then this is just another example of a bolt-on kitchen. You can see this actually going into place. This was being placed next to a hockey rink that was turned into a dining facility for students. This is a school on campus, a campus school. And so you can see they're placing down that first unit, and then on the bottom photo you'll see where they added additional units and cold storage, and they are bolted right on and opened up into that hockey rink, which is now a special event center for them.
So how much do all these things cost? Well, it probably in comparison, it's very similar to the cost that you would experience to build out a commercial kitchen. Since we've looked at mobile, modular, and containerized, we thought we would share some range pricing with you. In the mobile world, there are different types of units. There are box trailers, or bumper pull trailers, fifth wheel, semi, and then, of course, the food trucks. And as you can see from the prices that we've identified here, the ranges are considerable. And, for instance, a food truck will start out maybe $140,000 and can range all the way up to, you know, $300,000, $325,000, even more if it gets very elaborate with some very expensive equipment on board. The modular units are similar to what you would experience with stick-built construction. Cook modules will run anywhere from $250,000 to $400,000 for each unit. And as you can see, the prep units are a little less. Dish units are a bit more based upon the type of dish machine on board. Then the containerized kitchens run a very similar price range to the mobile units, with the exception that they don't have running gear, axles, and engines and tow tongues and things like that, but very similar in configuration. It's really dependent upon the type of equipment that you have on board. If you start adding things like combi ovens and expensive steamers, of course, the price will raise up, but they can also be very simple. You've seen some pretty simple food trucks out and about, and it's a great way to take your concept on the road. And the big difference is it's fully self-contained, and you can actually move to your customer rather than have your customer come to you.
So the other aspect that's important in this is the planning and the timeline. And as any project, you know, as early as possible you start your planning, the better. But for a general timeline, programming and designing can be anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks. Code approvals really are dependent upon your municipality, but can be from 2 to 4 weeks. And as far as they go, we do supply you with stamped drawings and the drawing package to go to your local authorities so that you can get that approval or that license, whatever is needed in your jurisdiction. Production, that's the time it would take us to build out a unit, anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks, again, depending upon how detailed it is. Delivery and installation, that really depends too on some of these modular projects. They take a little longer to put in than if we are just basically driving up or delivering a trailer to you. So it really depends. Testing and training in all our projects, we do send out a technician to fire up all the equipment after it's moved across over the road, make sure it's all working for you. They train you and your staff not only on the equipment, but any of the ins and outs of the particular kind of unit that you have. So its total timeline is you're looking at anywhere from 12 to 20 weeks for something from start to finish. And there are cases of disaster or emergency. We do have a fleet of units at Kitchens to Go that we are able to deploy much quicker than that. So if it's a case of a fire or or any kind of natural disaster, we can always get something out to you quickly, and maybe even as we work and plan towards something else, as a replacement. But we can get you up and going quickly whenever necessary.
Thanks, Carrie. So in summary, we've seen today that mobile modular, containerized, and bolt-on kitchens are really a viable solution in today's marketplace. As I mentioned, it's always nice to be able to take your concept out to the customer as opposed to depending upon them to find your location. Whether you're going to do a renovation or remodel or develop a new market, it's a great tool for you and your team to use to get out to that marketplace. It does take some time to plan, and there are some code requirements that are involved, so take the time necessary up front to make sure that you pave the roadway to allow you to take your concept on the road. So, time for some questions. Let's see if we've got some questions. Okay, somebody's typed in, can we use our own equipment? That is possible. We deal with a lot of quick-serve concepts that have specialized equipment, and they actually ship the equipment to our facility, and we install it on board the unit. So yes, we can use your equipment. There's an expanded version of that question, which is asking who buys and specifies the equipment. In most cases, we can do that. We have engineers on board, or if you have specific equipment you'd like to use, you're welcome to spec it, and as I mentioned earlier, just ship it to our facility, and it's built right into the actual vehicle or modular unit itself. So we like to take care of all that at our facility. Next question is, do you have 18-foot step vans available for cooking pizza? We do. We have a design for an 18-foot and even a 24-foot step van for pizza. We can use either a deck oven or a conveyor type pizza oven on board, and of course make tables and high volume production. You can see we did a number of units for Pizza Hut. We've built for the majority of the quick serve pizza folks in the industry, so we have a great deal of experience with that. We'd be happy to share any of those designs with you. Another question is, can these units be used in cold weather? The answer is yes, although some consideration has to take place. They need to have winterization systems on board where you actually insulate and protect the water system from freezing. As you know, this has been a very difficult winter, and especially in the Midwest and East Coast. I understand Naperville got a couple inches of snow last night, so winter's not quite done. But these units are available to be designed to be utilized in cold weather. We've actually placed units up on the North Slope in Dead Horse, Alaska that are in environments as low as -35. So as long as that type of requirement is identified beforehand, it can be engineered and built to meet those requirements. Let's see, here's another question. Do you do international work? We have done some international work. Carlin has product in 27 different countries throughout the world. Probably most of our focus has been in the Middle East, but we have supported units in Asia and, of course, Europe. I've done a great deal of work with the Olympics over the years. In fact, I'll be down in Santiago, Chile next week looking at some mining operations. So we do have that experience. You're dealing with different electrical voltages and in some cases even fuel and gas supplies. So it all boils down to making sure that you plan and engineer properly. Another question is, how much does the winterization add to the overall cost? It really depends upon the type of the unit, but I would say probably about 10 to 15% based upon how severe of a winterized system you have to design to meet the temperature. But that's all something that can be addressed up front to make sure that the unit will operate in any type of environment. Next question is, do you offer catalogs for equipment with sizes? Do you offer plans for different sizes of vehicles? We do have some standard drawings that we have available on our website, and they're built and designed for different types of applications, from just general food service and off-premise catering to specialized applications such as burger programs and pizza, maybe disaster response. So take a look at our website at Carlin Manufacturing or carlinmfg.com. And if you don't see what you're looking for, feel free to reach out and contact Carrie at our office in Naperville, 630-355-1660, or drop her an email, and we'd be happy to share with you our standard drawings. And then once you can identify your equipment requirements, we will take your needs and expand that into a custom design for your application. So let's see here, one more question, and what is your truck platform? We use a series of workhorse chassis, and typically workhorse or Ford, and Utilimaster bodies. They can range anywhere from 18 up to 24 foot long or longer. So it really depends upon the equipment that you need and how much space, along with all of your support utilities. So every application is a bit different. And as I share, we start with a standard plan and design an application and design that's custom to your requirements. So a lot of flexibility, even though you're designing into a pre-established form, there is a lot of flexibility, and you can have a custom design configured just for your needs. Another question, can you provide photos of trucks that you have built and designed? Yes, we'd be happy to. We shared some with you today. Just reach out to Carrie and drop her an email or place a phone call to her, and she'd be happy to share with you a photo or two that are very close to what your application would be.
And Ralph, do you see we have a question about facades, too, on the containerized units? If we provide those, do you want to explain how we do that?
I'd be happy to. The photo that you saw for the one drive-through coffee program in Denver, it's actually a drive-through coffee program for a coffee company out of the Seattle area that has a green logo. We can't tell you who it is, but it's a good client of ours. It's called a rain screen, and a rain screen is a wood or cement fiber cladding that is attached to the container with a series of purlins, and it actually sits on the outside of the container. So the container itself is insulated, and it has all the utilities so that it's fully functional as a building, but then the exterior cladding can be done to have it meet whatever architectural style that you might have a need for. So again, a lot of flexibility on the inside and a lot of flexibility on the outside. How do you determine what local ordinances are to be built and be in compliance with? That's a great question. We do a business, in addition to international, all over the United States, and every state has its own program. In most cases, the units have to be approved by a third party, and so the units are actually approved and have an insignia installed on them before they're delivered to your place of business. So they're pre-approved, and we're familiar with the codes that we have to build to. We can go through a third-party agency and have a plan review and then have the units inspected during production. That's critical because when the unit's delivered, you'll need to get a health department inspection, and one of the requirements of the health department is that the unit have a third-party insignia on the unit itself. So great question. Just like a building, you've got to go through the plan review and inspection process to make sure that these things are built in compliance with the codes. Okay, looks like that's our last question. Carrie, you want to share the next webinar?
Yes, thank you so much, Ralph. The next webinar is a repeat of today's. It will be on May 28th at 11 o'clock Pacific time. And you can either register on our website if you see the address up there, or you can give me a call in the office, and I'd be happy to help you with that. We have another, also if you do check our website, we offer other webinars a little different from this one, but on a number of topics and targeted towards a number of markets. So please check. We have a schedule on our website, and you will see when all of those are and have the ability to register right then and there. So we thank you very much for all the questions and for your time today. And again, please reach out to me if there's anything further we can do. If you would like to have a presentation for your group or your team, we would be happy to set up a specific time for you and target whatever is most helpful for you. So again, I'd be happy to arrange that with you. So just give me a call or send me an email.
Great, Terry. Thanks, and thanks everybody for your time this afternoon. Have a good week. Take care.